والسلام على أشرف الخلق وسيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back everyone to the last two lectures in our course Children's Literature. These two lectures, as I promise, will be sheer fun, pure fun. Forget about exams, forget about the artistry and so on. Let us enjoy how the novel is going to be concluded and how the story of the children who lost their father at the start are going to have their life changed, as little by little we know that he is going to come back to them. That is to say, my focus in the coming two lectures will be on the story rather than on anything else. We have done lots of things from the start until now. We have explained the characteristics of children's literature. We have talked about the second approach, which is feminism. We have talked about railways as well. And to do this, we concentrated our attention, we focused our attention on those aspects of the course and of the novel, and we have selected examples from the first 4 or 5 chapters of the novel, as these for me are very, very important chapters. So from lecture 11, I think, we began to run or to jump or to go quickly into the other chapters, as they do not include lots of extra things. They just include lots of extra examples about how the major things we said at the start are going to be exemplified. More examples, extra examples about the same thing, about mother being a great one, about the children finding a lot of pleasure in exploring the world around them, and so on. So further exploration, further discovery, further information, further. This is what the novel does from starting from chapter say 6 onwards, and that is why today we start with chapter 6. The last thing we had before was when they found out a Russian person escaping from Russia. He has been punished by the Russians for writing a book, and he comes back to England, escaping from Russia, in order to look for his wife and children who were also lost. And the children are going to help him find his family away from their mother. Their mother participates in one part of the problem, but the children do everything on their own. They are ready from now on to benefit society and to cooperate with society and to help people and to be very useful to people in many ways, as we will see. The Russian gentleman got better day after another as the family took care of him. So the children find him at the station. They take him back home, asking mother to help him. He speaks Russian, he doesn't speak English, and mother is a great mother. She knows Russian as well. You know how the writer describes mother in the novel as knowledgeable and cultured and educated. The mother wrote letters to some people who might know the whereabouts in England, as a Russian gentleman's wife and family might possibly be. Could you please find the place of the family of that gentleman who comes from Russia? Only the mother could communicate with him, as she knows Russian. She knows Russian. Children sympathize with him because he was sent to prison, then to Siberia. Siberia is another cruel place to leave people in. It is very cold. It actually is icy and whoever is sent to Siberia should be lost forever, simply because he wrote a book about poor people. You know, this is an indirect way of the writer saying that in Russia there was no freedom. In Russia, people were punished for expressing themselves and for siding with the poor. This interesting stranger kept the children away from the station for 3 days. We know that the children like the station so much. They like to stay at the station. They like everything about the station. But because he himself and his story are interesting so much, they do not go to the station and they spend the time with him for 3 days. Mother promised to tell the station master the story of the Russian prisoner. So the whole family doesn't mind helping strangers in need. This is what they have been brought up to do. Later on, the children went to Perks, and Perks is the station master, the railway porter, who received them coldly and was upset because he thought that the children kept a secret from him. There is something going on that he doesn't know, and he is cross. You know, there is some kind of personal human relationship growing between him and the children, something that has grown and grown out of daily contact and the friction and the contact and the problems that have taken place between him and the children. Remember the call that the children started taking from the station. The children didn't know what secret he meant and tried to solve the problem with Burks. They thought that their mother has told them about the Russian man. At last he accepted their apologies and they are friends again. Someday the children went to collect some cherries. As the children were going down the tunnel, they heard a very odd noise that got louder and louder. Then rocks, bushes and trees fell down on the railway. You know, when the train goes on the rails like this, there is the train. How would I describe it? Can you see this? The train goes on 2 rails and they should be free. Nothing should hamper or impede the train from moving. Nothing should stop the train, stones or whatever, or sand or whatever. Now something has happened. The mountain, part of the mountain has fallen on the railway line. Nobody has seen this. The government has not seen it. It is only the children who notice that this has happened. And because they are benevolent and good and useful and cooperative, what they do? Automatically they start thinking of how best they can prevent a disaster from taking place. The train was only 2 miles away. It's coming. They can see it coming. And if it comes quickly without the driver, the driver of the train noticing it, then there could be a disaster. The train was only 2 miles away and there was no time to run to the station. The safest thing is to go to the station and ask people there to come and help, but there is no time for that. So a very frightful accident was expected. Something was going to take place. So what do the children do? They think automatically and directly of cutting off their petticoats, red petticoats. So they took off their red flannel petticoats and divided each petticoat into 3 pieces. So so they took off the petticoats and divided each petticoat into 3 pieces. Now we have got 6 flags. They designed 6 flags. Each one of the children carried 2 flags, one in the right and one in the left, as you can find now, each one of them waving to the train. That red sign, of course, was enough to stop the train from colliding with the things that have fallen on the railway. The train came rattling along very, very fast. It was coming very, very fast, and there would be a disaster. But Bobby, as you can see in the picture now, she stood on the railway line waving with her 2 flags, and when the driver and the fireman had got off the engine, she fainted. Of course, it was a very horrible thing. She fainted, she fell down, and she was waving while she was fainting, but woke up after some time. Next chapter, valor. For valor, that is to say courage. This is a courageous. So little by little, and in every chapter, we learn something about the children. The children are generous, they are kind, they are sympathetic, they are benevolent, they are useful, they are, very good for the society around them. So they move from being just children playing at home to children who are very good members of society, and this is what mother has taught them to do. Mother and father, of course. Roberta was quite oddly anxious to make other people happy. This is what mother has educated her to do. Also, she had the power of silent sympathy. She sympathizes with people like the Russian gentleman, the station master, and we will know many more things to come. Bobby had another quality which just means trying to help people. She kept thinking of some way of helping the Russian gentleman to find his wife and children. One morning a letter came. It was addressed to Peter and Bobby and Phyllis. They opened it with enthusiastic curiosity, for they did not often get letters. A letter like this. The letter said, "Dear Sir and ladies, it is proposed to make a small presentation to you." The summary of this letter is that the railway people found that what Peter and Roberta and Phyllis did by preventing an accident was something excellent, and they wanted to reward them for this great thing that they have done. So they are sending them a letter telling them to come to the station on the 30th of the month in order to celebrate with them and to receive their reward. This is Inglewood, the secretary of the Southern Railways. A very nice token, of course. They felt so proud of themselves. Notice that all this has taken place without mother knowing it, because mother is always busy. They started getting ready for the day of the presentation, guessing what their presents might be. Their children, and every one of them expects to have a present of one sort or another. On the day of the presentation, everybody was there, including the old gentleman. So instead of continuing to wave his hand for the children and the children waving their hands for him, when the train came over, the gentleman came down to earth and he began to talk to the children and to know them. We will also know that he is going to talk to mother and to ask mother to run a hospital for him. On the day of the presentation, everyone was excited. Everyone was there, including the gentleman, and everything looked as if it was Christmas. That was a happy day. They did something nice and great, and they had to be rewarded for that. And of course, you have to know that on such a beautiful day, mother shall always be there with them. The district superintendent started a long speech praising the children and said all sorts of nice things about the children's bravery and presence of mind. These are the qualities that we learn about the children the more we go into the novel. Then the old gentleman got up and said things too. He thanked the children. It was very it was like prize giving. Then he called the children one by one by their names and gave each of them a beautiful gold watch and chain. Everyone said thank you, and Peter also began to talk. But Bobby didn't forget the Russian gentleman, the Russian friend, and she thought of asking the old gentleman for help. When mother was sick and they had nothing to treat her with, and they wanted to help her, what did they do? What kind of solution was there? The solution was to ask the gentleman for help. Now she is doing the same, asking the gentleman for help. They told him about the story of the Russian prisoner who escaped and who was in search of his family, and how they want more than anything in the world is to find his wife and children for him. What do you think here, ladies and gentlemen? If father was with the children would go directly to him and ask him to solve those problems, right? But father is not here and mother is busy. So there must be someone else to go to resort to. And this gives us a very important message, you know. It's a very important message for parents who are careless of their children, who do not listen to their children, who are very busy for their children, will take the risk, run the risk of obliging their children to seek refuge in, or to seek advice or instruction or morality in other people. So if you don't give your own children the information and advice and instruction they want, now they are going to find it in other people. You choose which one of them is effective and to the good of the children, for you as a father to give them, or a mother of course, to give them the instruction they need, or for society or for vagabonds or people in general to do so. This is an indirect message in the novel. Bobby wrote down the name of the Russian, Pansky, for the gentleman, and he promised to ask about his family. 10 days later, the old gentleman found out about the Russian's wife and children and wanted to be the bearer of the good news. He wanted to be the one to tell the children about this happy piece of news. But he is an old, wise gentleman, and he knows that the children will love it so much. So he let Bobby carry the news herself. Bobby wished that she didn't carry the news, as the Russian sprang up with a cry of love and longing. When the Russian gentleman knew this, he jumped, you know, he was very happy, which shocked Bobby. The Russian packed his few belongings and left to the station. Mother was so thankful to the old gentleman for all what he did for them so far. You know, the writer is taking us directly into the depth of the world of the children. Secrets, details, excitement, suspension, a small world which looks small but is really and truly very rich. Chapter 8. Perks and the children are having tea in the porter's room. The children are at the station, so you know, they are having tea. Tea should be taken at home or at a coffee house. They go to the station and they take it there with the porter. They are friends now, and they are discussing Bobby's birthday gift with the porter or the station master. The children ask about Perk's birthday. Do you have a birthday? Why don't you celebrate your birthday? You know, they are being so close and friendly to everyone at the station and in the countryside. So they begin to plan for his birthday. The children went to the canal bridge to fish, but the line was not long enough. So they are here and they have a line, sonara, to fish, but this is, they are children and they didn't know that it is short and they cannot fish. So they prefer to look at the sunset. This is the canal. They wanted to fish, but the line is short. While they are staring at the water, a man came over thinking that they were fishing. Okay, this is his own place. Nobody should fish here except him. So he comes to Peter and twists his ear. Bobby apologized and told him that they fished nothing and they didn't know that the canal is his. We're sorry, we didn't know that this is your canal and we're not going to do it again. They are very polite children, not knowing where the properties of other people start and end. These are children, you know. They have no idea. If they are grown ups, if they are old enough, they would tell each other that this is not the right place to fish. It looks, there is a boat here and it seems private property. Start and end. It was past bedtime and the children were going home when they noticed that smoke was coming from the chimney of the cabin of the canal boat. Look at the boat here. This is the boat, and there is a chimney. There's a machine that operates the boat, and when they retreat and go away, they notice that there is fire. There is a problem, just like the disaster on the railroad. So quickly they made for the barge. They go there and they put the fire off. Very helpful, like this. So Peter goes there quickly and he saves a baby, soft and warm and alive, picks it up, backs out, goes out. The baby whose cry they heard the cry first, and they look and they find that there is fire. They go quickly, they save the baby, and they also save the dog. And they go to the mansion, to the house of the fisherman, to tell him of what happened. There is a nice old-fashioned room at the place, and the writer describes this room and describes the meeting between the children and the fishermen. Chapter 9. Mother sold another story. So every time mother sells a story, they have money and they can celebrate, or at least they can have some nice food. There will be buns to have with tea. Originally, selling a story will bring happiness to the house because they will find means to buy buns and biscuits. They are very poor. They are looking for biscuits. But look at this. Children are now at one with society. Children exchanged glances. They looked at each other as they do all the time and asked mother if they can keep the buns till the 15th of this month. Why the 15th of this month? Because it is Perk's birthday. Will mother say no? Will she refuse? Then they plan to make a birthday for Perks. No. Of course, mother loves the fact that the children are cooperative this way. They went through the village asking people to help in holding a birthday for Perks, believing that he is a friendly man whom a lot of people would like to celebrate his birthday. That's Perks, and this is the train, and these are presents. The children told mother about what they did. There is no harm in it. So, mother, we're going to hold a birthday party for Perks. What do you think? Mother says no harm, but it depends how you do it. They are going to ask people to pay money so they can have a birthday gift for him. She says it's okay, but it depends on how you do it. That is to say, she's teaching them the rules of right behavior, the best way of doing things. She doesn't just leave them for themselves. No, she teaches them correct ways of behavior. I only hope he won't be offended and think it's charity. Because if you ask people, please give us in order to buy him a present, then this is charity. Sadaqah. Poor people are very proud. This is a lesson, a great lesson that the children learn from mother. Poor people are very proud, you know. It isn't because he's poor, said Phyllis. It's because we are fond of him. We're doing this because we are fond of him. All the things that had been collected for Perks were packed. And at 3:30, Peter and Bobby and Phyllis wheeled down, and this is a description of the birthday party. The children hid as they heard Perks coming home. Perks asked Mrs. Perk from where she got all this. And as mother expected, he is sad because he thinks that this is for charity, sadaqah. But he is told by the children, no, there are labels. Labels, that is to say, pieces of paper which you can read to see the emotions and feelings of the ordinary people in the neighborhood. Neighbors mentioned anything about charity. No one mentioned anything about charity. Everyone loves and respects you. And so they have tea and they enjoy the time. The last chapter in today's lecture is the beginning of the secret. When they first went to live at the Three Chimneys, the children had talked a great deal about their father. That was at the start. First, naturally, father has been taken away and they are moving to a new house, and they should remember father all the time. But as time went on, and this is again logical, they grew to speak less of him, like the dough. Remember the dough? You put your fingers in the dough, you leave a hole, but the hole disappears. Bobby had felt almost from the first that for some strange, miserable reason, those questions hurt mother. They kept asking questions at the start, and they noticed that mother gets hurt every time they asked her about father. So they stopped asking her. And little by little, the others came to have this feeling too, though they could not have put it into words. One day, mother asked, Bobby, do you think Peter and Phyllis are forgetting father? Why is mother talking to Bobby? She's talking to Roberta because she is older, wiser, and she understands more. Do you think that your brother and sister forgot all about father? She noticed how they don't talk about father anymore. Bobby told her how they do talk about him when they are by themselves. It's great. It's very nice. They don't talk about father in front of mother because they know that if they do so, mother will be hurt. So they just talk about father away from mother. She added that she felt how her questions about her father hurt. Mother told Bobby that besides being away from father, there was a secret, and so on. Someday Bobby and Peter were quarreling in the garden, and suddenly mother heard Peter screaming. So Peter has wounded one of his legs. There is a wound, and the doctor came and looked at the foot, Peter's foot, and bandaged it beautifully, and said that Peter must not put it to the ground for at least 1 week. So Peter is going to stay at home for 1 week. And imagine his sisters. They love him so much. So what do you think of this picture? They go to the station and ask for some magazines so that Peter can read them while he is sick for 1 week. And suddenly, that's Bobby. She looks at the magazine and newspapers and finds something horrible. What is that? She never remembered how she got home because she got shocked. What she had read was headed, "End of the trial." The name of the man who had been tried was the name of her father. The papers that she holds in her hands and that she is going to bring to her brother to read talk about their own father. He has been found guilty and he is going to spend 5 years in prison. Horrible indeed. That's the start of the secret, which we are going to unravel next time, inshallah. And next time also we're going to finish the whole course by reaching chapter 14, and we will talk generally about the novel as well and the course. As you know, as you have seen today, the writer has plunged us into the realm of the children, into the minds and the feelings of the children, how they behave. If you allow them, if you give them enough freedom and enough confidence in themselves, they would do lots of great things. But there must be someone around them. There must be someone there for them to guide, to direct, to advise, to protect, to correct. As I said in the middle of the lecture, because if you do not play that role, then the children, whether you choose it or not, will try to find the answers to the questions in their minds from other people. And in the novel, the writer has indirectly told us that no matter how busy you are, you have to be there for your children in order to correct them and to well educate them. We have stopped talking about feminism and railways and the characteristics of children's literature because I have enough confidence in you and in the fact that you already know about those characteristics. And as I said, this lecture and the coming lecture are sheer and pure fun. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you very much, and see you very soon with the last lecture, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.